All right, Shalom. I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Krakodash. I want to say double honor to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone for teaching his word and truth and sincerity and for ruling well. And salutations to my fellow Akim across the four corners of the globe, preaching in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Hey, this is the brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another lesson. And I'm going to make it quick. It's on this post that you see in front of you, okay? And just to show you how these heathen, they always want to take a part in our blessing. And who is the Israelites, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American and Seminole Indians, which they want to take a part in our blessing, but they have not been through anything that we've been through, particularly this last captivity, man, which we're in it right now. These heathen, they weren't dragged on cargo slave ships and drug into hardcore bondage for hundreds of years, being oppressed in the manner that we're being oppressed. Even when the so-called white man came to these Polynesian Isles, he didn't come with slave ships, man. Y'all didn't leave on slave ships, man. Nowhere in y'all history do y'all have that. Now you can talk about the Aborigines people, where they were being oppressed by the Edomites and from England. But even still, they weren't drugged into hardcore slavery, sold on auction blocks. That wasn't happening to them. That wasn't happening to them, man. And so here it is. I was just scrolling through a timeline, and this post says, "What's your favorite ancient Hawaiian myth/legend?" Which, us going into hardcore slavery, us being the Lord's people, us walking out of Egypt, that wasn't a myth or a legend. That really happened. That really happened. All right. That was facts, man. And the mixed multitude that came out with us, they got put to death in the wilderness, man, because they weren't our people. The only ones that went into Israel, and also not only them, but also the fearful of our people, that generation, that whole first generation that were grown, that were adults, that walked out of Egypt, they got put to death too for their unbelief. All right. The only ones that went into Israel were the children of Israel, man. Were the children of that generation, man. The only two people of that first generation that went into Israel was Joshua and Caleb, man. All right. But let me read this to you. So it says, "What's your favorite ancient Hawaiian myth/legend? Please tell us your stories." And so I went into the comments, and the first thing I saw was this one right here from Leomana T. It says, "The one about we are transcendents of the lost tribe of Israel and Jesus, who was sent to save us from the rest of the world. We come from the house of Jacob. Moses came to save our kupuna, took us into the desert, and says we were there for 40 years and died off. In reality, we jumped on, listen to this. In reality, we jumped on our ships and used our knowledge of the stars to start moving across the earth. We got the knowledge from building the Great Pyramids as an archaeological astronomy temple to mark the date of completion." Where the fuck you get this shit from? The stat of modern science. That's where math and the understanding of physics really blew up. Now we are on a small island in the middle of the biggest ocean. If Hawaiians only knew who they are, we would allow life to be like this. And then I looked at the reply. Somebody said, "Thank you. I will read that book. Why you think Soleil and Tungans so good at building rock walls?" Which Soleil's, I guess, is Samoans, man. LOL. It says, "It talks about the language and the traditions we had first contact. Language was old style like the Jews, man." Just going off, man. Maui. And just so it says how how Hawaii was divided into a funny story about Kamapu'u. Okay, I ain't got to go into that. But this is the point right here, man. You know, which again, this is not us walking out of Egypt was not a myth, man. Nor was a legend, man. It was fact. And the nations knew that when Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai delivered us, man. They knew about it, man. It was noised across the whole world, man. But see, these heathen, they always trying to seek a place in our inheritance, man. But we don't have no place in their inheritance, man. Which, in reality, you so-called Hawaiians, Tongans, what else? Micronesian, Melanesians, people of the Pacific Isles and the Micronesian Isles and Melanesian Isles and the Austrian Isles, Australian Isles and New Zealanders. Y'all are the Japhetic people, man. Y'all the Japhites, man. You are not our people. Our people are scattered amongst you. That's all you have, is that our people are scattered amongst you. But outside of that, you are not our people and we are not your people. And you know that. That language that you people speak, that's your language. That's your history, man. Which, because you come from Noah, because you're the sons of Japhite and daughters of Japhite, because you come from Noah, you do have remnants of what? The Hebrew tongue? Because Noah spoke Hebrew. Shem, Ham, and Japheth spoke a Hebrew dialect, man. They spoke it. So that's the reason why it's still cast amongst you, but you are not our people, man. You got no leg up in this blessing in which we are about to receive as a nation, man. All right. So this is Jeremiah 3 and 23. Truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills and from the multitudes of the mountains. Truly the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, our God, is the salvation of Israel, man. And the mountains and the hills, they symbolize you different nations, man. So it's telling you that truly in vain is salvation hoped for from you nations, man. Because it wasn't given to you. It says, truly in the Lord, our God, is salvation of Israel. Right. The Lord he's our power. He's not your other nation's power. When you read the book of Joel, chapter 2, and you skip down to 27. Yep. And it says, and ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, your God, or your power, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed. So the Lord's people shall never be ashamed, man. All right. When you look at these so-called Hawaiians and Tongans and Micronesian, Melanesian people, they don't have our history, man. All right. That tattoo and shit that Jake is into right now, that shit came from them, man. Their forefathers and foremothers did that. When you go back into their history prior to the white man's contacting them in the late 1700s, early to mid 1800s, they weren't following none of our customs, man. These people, all these people, from the Samoans to the Hawaiians to the Tongans to the Fijians to the what is it? It's another one. Oh man, the French, Tahitians. They were writing on themselves, man. They were eating each other. They were living a wild lifestyle, man. And they weren't living they weren't living the customs of Israel, man. They grew their hair long, you know. Now some of them got the froze, man, but they're still Japhetic people, man. They had froze with tats all on their face down to their feet, man. They weren't following our customs, man. Our customs were vain to them, man. Worshiping one God, worshiping one power, following his laws, statutes, and commandments. Why? Because he didn't give them those commandments to these different nations. This is Psalms 147 and 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So these nations, they didn't know our customs. They didn't know our laws, statutes, and commandments. Why? Because the Lord didn't give them to him. He didn't give them to these different nations. He gave them to us. Now, over time, the so-called white man, he introduced the Bible to these islands, man. He introduced the Bible to the Micronesians, the Melanesians, the so-called Polynesians. Which that word Polynesian, that's a white man's word. He created that word, man. You know, he created that word. All right. Again, I'm not saying that our people are not scattered amongst them, because they are. You got Israelites that look like these heathen nations, man. You got Israelites that look like these Japhetic people, the so-called Polynesian, Micronesian, Melanesian people, man. All right? But that's it. They're not our people, and we are not their people. They got a whole history, bro. They got oppressed because their forefathers sold them out. Their forefathers made deals with Esau when Esau came over here, man. And it was allowed to take over their islands, man. And capitalize off of them, man. Which this guy, whoever was leaving that comment, whoever left this comment down here, he might, you know, follow GOCC or something, man. Hold on. Yeah, this is his page. And look, this dancing, this ain't Jake dancing, man. These are their people, man. These are, and then all the isles do that, from the Hawaiians, Samoans, Tongans, Fijians, Tahitians, and I'm just naming a handful of these group of people in an archipelago, man. This ain't our people, man. This ain't us. This is this guys that left that comment. This is his page, man. These ain't our people, man. This ain't got nothing to do with the Israelites, man. Again, our people are scattered amongst them, but outside of that, they are not our people, man. This is not us. I guess this is the guy right here, man. From they dressing to they tattooing, all that has nothing to do with Israel, man. But these nations, they always knew that the Lord was working with us. So what they wanted to try to do, they try to melt themselves into our blessing, man. You want to be an Israelite when it comes to the blessings and it comes to the joy. But you don't want to be an Israelite when it came to the curses and the destruction of our people, man. You didn't want that. You know? You talking about the so-called white man is Japhite. No, they not, man. No, they're not. No, they not, man. So-called white man is not Japhite. So-called white man is the nation of Edom, man. They are the Edomites that the Bible speaks of, man. And they don't want to be the Edomites. That's why you never see a movie about the Edomites. You never hear major books come out about the Edomites, man. They don't even talk about the Edomites in these different schools of education. Okay? They won't even mention it. They're not going to bring it up. Why? Because they're hiding who they are, man. And they don't even know. These lessers, they don't know shit, bro. When you see these Edomites, you know, the Edomites driving their fancy cars and living in these houses, or just working class Edomites, they don't know shit. They're just there, man. But they're benefiting off of their Edomiteness, so-called whiteness, man. All right. So again, Psalms 147:19, he showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. And let me read it again. Psalms 147:19, he showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. So these people are not our people. Hey, shalom.